Great. And I find that what we have here is fun. It's fun, you know? So we're going to turn my sound off. Okay. What I know is I have learned that when I go away, I miss you all so much. And I keep thinking of you individually and thinking, oh, I wonder what they're doing. Well, let me tell you what we were doing when you were having the service last Sunday. We were on the road coming back from the Unity Convention in Detroit. Yeah, now when we heard that convention was going to be in downtown Detroit, we just groaned. Why did they choose that place? Well, you know, Detroit is trying. Truly, it is. And where we were, right in the middle of downtown, it's the Renaissance Center, and it's rather lovely. It's right there on the river, so you can walk out onto the sidewalks right along the river. You can see the fountains they've built and flowers, and it's really lovely. But they have a long way to go. So a minister friend who lives there said to me, well, let's help the image along, shall we? And instead of saying Detroit, could we say Detroit? It's kind of like we do. Instead of savage, we call it sauvage. At least that's what our young people would like to do. So there's so much that you learn at a convention. I find that being with friends and gathering ideas, getting these aha moments, and deciding, what am I going to bring back? What's exciting that I can bring back and put into the ministry? Well, there are quite a few things. But I began to think of convention like camp. Camp spiritual. It's having a relatively easy, concentrated, holy experience within 4 days. So you have to pay attention. And I find that you get a little bit weary sometimes because you are paying attention. And then we have our moments when we actually get to listen to a lot of people in a business meeting, and we get to vote on things, which is good. You get to be a part of everything. So it is like camp. And you get this camp consciousness that it's a high sometimes. But here's the trick of it. To bring the camp consciousness back into your life. Because the camp has a purpose. We're there to awaken to the truth that we are 100% spirit. There's nothing we can add to that. There's nothing we can take away from it. It's what we've always been. It's what we always will be. 100% spirit. And it is a trick to bring that back into our lives. To live that every day. We have a tendency in this human life to put labels on things. And we label some things, some events, some people more sacred than others, more special. We label some things bad. Don't want any part of that. We label some things ugly, some things beautiful, some things good. That is our human tendency. Case in point. We're driving down the freeway, and by us comes roaring this motorcycle, and when he gets up ahead of us, we see that on his back, on his t-shirt, is a message, a statement he's making. I can't repeat it here. So you say to yourself, I don't like that. Well, I don't have to like that. I suppose we could call that judgment, but I think I have a right to say that isn't for me. That is not life enhancing. That doesn't lift me up in any way. But here's the thing. Just because he has that message on his back, is he not a holy person? he is still a holy person, a holy being. So now I have a message. I like it. Well, I bought this t-shirt. Who's been to St. Petersburg Unity? Somebody. Well, maybe they're in the kitchen. Okay. Anyway, my friend Temple Hayes is the minister there, and they had these t-shirts for sale. And it says, coexist in unity. Well, that's coexist in oneness and coexist in love. That's what we stand for. And then all these symbols, and some of them are underneath my belt, so you can't see them all. But I think you get the idea. So I am making a statement. We're all making a statement. Have you ever thought about that? Every single one of us. By what we wear, by how we carry ourselves, by the facial expression, by everything, by the car we drive. We're making a statement in this world.
In my case.
So my statement is better than the guy on the motorcycle. Yes? Well, yes, I think so. But does that make me a better person than him? A better being? No, it doesn't. No. We all belong to the spiritual realm. We are all one. And there's no one better than anyone else. I love what Shakespeare says. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. Each has their exits and their entrances. And one man in his time plays many parts. Many parts. His act being 7 stages. So he divided life into 7 stages, starting with infancy and that helplessness, and then going to the end of our life and somehow mimicking that early stage of infancy. But in between, I have come to see that there is something we need to know. It's called change. CHANGE, constantly having a new growth experience. That's what we can all have in between. Constantly having a new growth experience. Opening ourselves to life, to spirit, to all the good things of life. So I have come to believe, I have learned that my entire life, and your life too, are sacred experiences. We often think that we have to look out there for some kind of sacred experience that is going to give our life purpose and meaning. It's not out there. The sacred experience is you and it's me. It's in here. And unless we take time to go in here, we're not going to see the sacredness in life. We're not going to see it in ourselves. We're not going to see it in anyone else. We're not going to see that life itself is sacred. Now, what I have learned of that is that I have the responsibility for my life. We used to have a friend who said, if you go somewhere and you don't have a good time, there's no one to blame but you. You're responsible for your good time. So I have come to believe that I am responsible for the control of negative thoughts. I don't have to have them. Whatever life hands me, I can choose my response. It can be anything that I want, but why would I not choose something that was uplifting? Someone else has said, and I wish I could give the credit to this person, but I don't know who it was. I think it was a he, though. I think his name was Ron, and I just can't remember his last name. He said, what you find in your mind is what you have put there. That's a profound statement. What you find in your mind, you have put there. And if you don't like what's in there, if you don't like the way your life is going, then put something else in your mind. put good stuff in there. So I have come to see that life is my responsibility. And I keep learning that over and over and over again. I truly do. I also have learned that we belong to a marvelous movement. It's exceptional. This unity movement is one that calls us ever higher, ever to go onward and upward. It calls us to be questioners and explorers. It calls us to live in this century. This century, to break through the limited states of consciousness that many of us have already broken through. But I think it's a lifetime process to keep breaking through, because many of these limiting thoughts hold us in bondage. It's time. See, we call ourselves metaphysicians, which means meta, that we go beyond. So when we read the Bible, we see the literal words and we can get the literal meaning. And sometimes that's fine, but often it's not. It's not enough. And so we go beyond that and we get to a deeper meaning, something profound for our lives, something that gives us depth. I also think that we are at a time of meta-morality. We are living in a climate of morality that is not working. It's not working in our schools. It's not working in our businesses. It's not working in our political system. And how is that going to change? I think it's time that we stood up for what we believe. We sing a song here sometimes. Let there be peace on earth. Well, peace is more than quiet. Peace is more than the absence of conflict or the absence of warfare. Peace embodies honesty, integrity, fair play, kindness, respect. All that is part of that peace and tranquility that passes our human understanding. And it comes from a high consciousness. It comes from the divine within us. So, let there be peace on earth. Let all these things then be on this earth. Fair play, honesty, integrity, kindness, respect. And let those things begin with me. Because that's where it always begins, with me. So I think that we are being called to a high ethical standard. And it's time. It's time. When I say that the unity movement is exceptional, I'm going to include religious science in that, because this is called New Thought. And here we talk a lot about New Thought. We could include divine science in that too, because we all have basically the same message, God within. Trust in God, we sang it. Beautiful. Oh, I've learned a lot while I've been away. A lot. I have to tell you quickly that I learned that my dog, this little Molly girl, I took her to a place where she could stay. A nice, safe place for her. She loves to be there because there are other dogs, and this time there was a cat. And so they had just a rollicking good time, of what I heard anyway. And Molly came back a couple pounds thinner. Apparently they really had a good time. I think her and the cat especially. But Molly forgot that I was Alpha. I first time I'm going to feed her and I put the food down, she starts right to dive into that food. Oh, no, wait, girl. We don't do that here. I'm alpha, remember? I'm the leader of the pack. So you sit there. I tell you to wait, you wait. And why are you waiting? Because I have to give you affirmations before you eat. You have to listen to me. You have to look into my eyes. And you have to listen to what I'm saying to you. You are a good girl. You are one of the best. Don't you know that? Oh, yes, you do. And I go on and tell her all these wonderful things. And then when I say, okay, she can eat. She also forgot that she doesn't just grab a treat out of my hand. She does it gently. You see how she forgot that I was alpha and she was the follower. But I realized, I have learned that that's the only relationship in my life where I get to be alpha. I don't get to be that with the partner I live with. No, a successful marriage, I think it's a team. It's not really someone who's the boss. I think. And also, I'm not alpha here. Isn't that interesting? Because we're all a team. We're all doing this together. That's the beautiful part of it. Well, I have also learned what these things are for. See all these? These are 5s and 1s. Now, when you are part of a huge hotel, and I mean to tell you this hotel was huge, that there were many conventions going on at the same time. Here's an interesting thing, that it was our convention and then the Baptist convention. And we were all there together. And what I found was that everybody was so friendly. They were nice. They were kind. It was a wonderful atmosphere. I began to wonder if they put something in the water. Because we were all so nice. Anyway, I found that when you go to a hotel, everybody seems to have their hand out. They want a tip. And I am ashamed to admit that there was a little tiny bit of resentment inside of me when I have gone to hotels before. Well, let's see how little I can give. A couple of bucks should do. I don't know what happened. I really don't know, but everything flip-flopped for me. And I thought, let's see how many 5s and 1s I can gather. And I found that every time somebody did something nice for me, here, you know what this does? It brings a smile to people's faces. There was an absolute joy in giving these things away. And after all, isn't it what we say? Life is forgiving. Well, I got to practice, and it was good. It was very good. I also found out, I learned that people, for the most part, are good. Maybe you said if we look for good, we see it. But I find that people are kind and courteous, and if given the opportunity, they're friendly. Case in point, a Hindu man. He came into the breakfast room with his grandchildren at the inn where we were staying the last night. I noticed, in fact, Del and I commented on how quiet, how good those children were. So I thought, I'm going to go tell the man. I walked over to his table and I thought, I just have to tell you how wonderful these children are. They are so quiet, you wouldn't even know they're here. And he said, well, thank you. And the boy, probably about 9, 10 years old, he grinned and shook his head, yeah, we're good. And the girl, maybe a little bit younger, she was stringing her Cheerios on a straw. And she showed me because she was trying to make some kind of a design with that. These were good kids. So when I said that to him again, he said, yes, well, thank you, but you should have seen them a little earlier jumping on the beds. I said, yes, but that's private. This is public. And he said, yes, and that's the way it is. You see a different culture, East Indian. You see that we need some of that in America. That's my opinion. So then his wife came into the room, dressed in East Indian clothing, lovely. A red dot on her forehead. She went over to speak with her husband, and then she came right over to me. You see, because when I left him, I said, namaste, and he returned the greeting to me. So apparently he told her, and she came over to me and she said, she looked right at my jewelry, and she said, I can tell you're open. See what I mean when we're making a statement by what we wear even? She said, you're open, aren't you? Yes. She said, what are you? I said, well, I belong to Unity. Oh, Unitarian! No. I said, Unitarians are wonderful, but we aren't that. Well, what are you then? And only one word came out of my mouth, oneness. And her eyes lit up. Oh, she said. And then she said something to me that I could hardly believe. She said, when Jesus was here and he was walking, he said, follow me. And what he meant by that was, come be with me in love, and in the knowing that we are all one. A Hindu woman telling me about Jesus. I couldn't have agreed more. We had a delightful conversation. It included even food. Like you don't get such healthy food in the breakfast room of an inn. You know, it's kind of like, I won't go into that. But anyway, we agreed we don't eat that way all the time. So, a delightful woman. So that's what I find, that there are people everywhere that are delightful. All we have to do is open ourselves to have a conversation. 2 days after we came back, I got the news that a dear, dear friend of mine had died. That's the way her husband put it. She died. I guess that's the way a lot of people say it. She's dead. She died. I like the way we say it here. She made her transition. She transitioned or passed into a larger way of being. My friend isn't dead. She's alive. She's probably more alive than she has ever been, ever. She's in a good place. She proceeds on her journey of life, and she's in my heart. I'm glad for my friend that she's not here anymore, because she was in excruciating pain. And I know what illness and pain and depression can do. I hadn't had a real conversation with my friend for over 2 years because she couldn't have it. All that depression, illness, and pain takes away your enthusiasm for life. And it took it away from her. But at the end, see, my friend and I did not agree. We agreed to disagree. I have to tell you that when she and I took a trip together and we sat at the end of a dock in Door County, and we took our Bibles and our sacred readings, and of course mine was the Daily Word and hers was, I can't remember what, but we read to each other. We shared our beliefs. And she said, oh, yours sounds really good. I just can't buy it. I said, and yours sounds really good. I just can't buy that either. That's okay. It's okay. What her belief was, she was going home to Jesus. I honor that. I respect that. All I know about my friend is, well, what Oprah said, I now have an angel that I know. And she was an angel. Here, too. She was good and kind, she was fun and funny, and I can imagine that wherever she is, she's telling her silly Swedish jokes in the best Swedish accent that you have ever heard. She was a wonderful friend, a wonderful woman. And here's what I know. Her husband told me that there would be no service. And the first thought I had was, well, now I've missed my opportunity to say goodbye. But I don't want to say goodbye because I feel my friend's presence with me. She lives in my heart. I don't have to say goodbye. And what I know is, what I have learned is that we celebrate life. When she came to be with us, and she burst in the front door with her coolers and all her goodies, her blueberries and her smoked salmon and all the goodies that she would bring, jam and jelly and all those things. And she came in her funny outfit with her baggy pants and her striped t-shirt, and she was a friend that was absolutely opposite from me. She used to say, "You're high maintenance, girl." I'm not. We used to laugh that it takes her 2 minutes to get ready for work, to get ready for the day. It takes me 2 hours. We loved each other. And when we were together, we celebrated life in our own special way, but we celebrated life. So here's my idea. I'm going to keep on celebrating life with her. I truly think that this is the best way to live, to celebrate life. Let's go out and do it. Namaste.